I don't know. But it's not so in stone, these models that we're supposed to
Mm.
be because we're a man or because we're a woman. It's what do we want? What works for us? And what can we contribute? And what does one, feel competent about giving? There's many things to take into consideration.
How might a woman be open to receiving? Like
Yeah.
receiving, like letting him do it, because that's letting go of that control. And in our environment, in our society, women are like the bosses of the household a lot of times, the bosses of their business, the bosses of their jobs, the bosses of the parenting, right? So they put on so many masks of masculinity because they have to be in the masculine energy, where it's hard to just let him do it. It's hard to receive
Well,
sometimes.
here's the deal. I don't think masculinity is about being the boss. I think it's about being the boss the way that you are. Are you the boss in a feminine way or are you the boss in a masculine way? And a masculine expression of being in control or giving an order or an instruction or guiding someone or mentoring someone is going to be different than a feminine, energetic kind of vibration. And I think that women
Mm.
tend to think they have to be a man when they're the boss because it's been told to us that, when you're the boss, you're masculine. And no, when you're the boss, it just means you're in charge of producing the result and that you are the manager of it. And so you can do that in a masculine way or a feminine way. I think with a woman, though, the thing that she needs to, most of my girlfriends that I think about that I've worked with over years, and this has taken years and years and years for me to learn too, is that we have to be willing to allow someone else to do it for us. And we've been told so much unconsciously from the time that we're little that we're not worthwhile. We're not as good as a man. It's a man's world. What we want is really secondary. We should want dolls and not fame, or we should want this and not that. Boys can't cry, but girls can. So, we can be weak, so we must be weak. There's so much going on that says we're the inferior sex. And, as a woman who's been in the boardroom my whole life, I never really noticed it because I just was accepted by everybody. But boy, there have been some organizations I've been a part of where there was a real boys club, and I thought, whoa, this is what people are talking about. Suddenly,
Mm.
I can't train the CEO because I'm a woman. I have to train the director of HR. Those little kinds of, oh, yeah,
Mm.
well, we'll take care of the CEO and vice president and the executive of sales, but you take care of the, okay. It's an interesting kind of thing. So we don't really know how worthwhile we are. And then when we find out when we're worthwhile, we don't have a lot of models to be able to express that in a feminine, nurturing way. We think that we have to take on a man's way to tell somebody what to do and be a boss that way. So, there's a
Mm.
lot of stuff going on. This is a special time in history. Oh my gosh. This is all the Everybody's been talking about this for thousands of years, this particular time in history. This is the age of Aquarius. This is the age when it's happening or not. This is the age where the indigenous tribes say the eagle and the condor is going to fly wingtip to wingtip across the rainforest or not. The condor being nature and the eagle being, masculinity and the mind and all of that kind of stuff. How do we bring those two energies together in a way that is cooperative? And it's not a guaranteed thing that it's going to work out. There's a lot going on right now.
Well, Well, it starts with conversations like this. I
Yeah.
mean, when we can look at it from the lens of what you're saying, because it is, you can see. I'm reading a book called The Boy Crisis, so I'm looking at it from the boy's lens, where I want to see both. Of course, I want to see both lenses, because it's like this polarity of toxic on both ends or wounded on both ends is really tough to bring a centered conversation around without like getting triggered of like, it's using the famous word that happens all the time right now is triggered. I really love what you said though, is because how can you lead or be in charge or be in power from the nurture state?
Right.
And sometimes that's tough. Where my curiosity went is parenting, because we have a 2-year-old, and it's like, it sometimes is, when you're parenting, you can nurture so much, but then sometimes it's like, no, stop, right? Sit. Like there needs to be that direction. And then it's all, oh, let's coddle. So this like balance of the two, this takes a fair amount of self-awareness to put down one and call the next one forward, especially if as a man, to put down the masculine and pick up the feminine. And I'm assuming for the woman to put down the feminine and call the masculine, or vice versa. Like it is very interesting from a parenting perspective, and then also from an intimate perspective too, where it's like, I've been in this in charge role all day calling the shots, and now it's like, I don't really care where we go for dinner. Like I don't want to call the shot right now, and it's like, now I got to keep calling the shots and keep making decisions. I don't want to make decisions right now. So it does take this dance of
Yeah.
self-awareness, and having conversations about it, because we sometimes are thinking thoughts that aren't ours. It's societal conversations of boys don't cry, and that means if you cry you're weak, and but it's okay if you would cry if you're a girl, because that means you're weak. Like that sucks. Like that was a really great profound statement there, because that is not the truth. Like it's not the truth at all. In fact, I talked to some of my clients, and I'm like, when's the last time you cried? And I'll ask a guy, I'll ask a girl this too. It's like, when's the last time you cried? It's like, one of the guys had Easter weekend. He said this to me last week. I said, you remember like the specific time it was Easter weekend? I was like, well, right now it's December. So you specifically remember the last time you cried was Easter? I'm
So
like, I was like, my goodness, that's, well, number one, good job for remembering. Number two, let's cry right now, dude. Like, what do I need to say to you to let this emotion out? So, but I think this is good. So let me kick it to you. What's showing up on my little rant
yes,
here
I
on some
love
of the
this
things?
because I want to just add another dimension into it. But I love this conversation. I could
Please.
talk about this for, and I do usually in my workshops. So, first of all, women think, and men think, I think also, that there is something a man's supposed to do and something a woman's supposed to do. So, when I tell my women, figure out something that you want, they think that there are certain things they're supposed to want from their guy. Like they're supposed to want him to support them. They're supposed to want him to bring home the bacon or the money. They're supposed to want him to be the strong person in the relationship, whatever. Like, well, that they can want those things if they do, but if they don't, they shouldn't want them. And we're stuck in this place where a man thinks he has to do this and a woman is supposed to do this and you're supposed to, so when a woman really gets that there are certain things she wants from her man and not necessarily um, does she need other things that she would rather give herself because she feels she could do a better job of it or it would be less high maintenance or whatever for her to do it, she shouldn't ask that of what her man is going to give her. You got to find a need for the guy you're with. You got to find something that you really want from him. And I think that women think they're supposed to want money and they're supposed to want this and they're supposed to want that. And I don't think that that's all that they really want. They want care and nurturing and love and attention and tenderness. And there's all sorts of things that you could ask a man for that has nothing to do with, will you provide for me? Now, if you want to be provided
Yeah.
for, then ask for that. But I think it's important that a man doesn't think he has to give it because he's a man or a woman feels that she has to ask for it because she's the woman. It's like I can think of a lot of things I want from a man and it's not to take care of me. I don't need anybody to take care of me. I've done a pretty good job taking care of me. But I do want some conversation and some touching and some loving and some acknowledgement and you know a dinner every once in a while would be nice. Do you see what I'm
Of
saying? Is like I think that we're stuck
course.
in these role models of what we should be giving Like a man shouldn't necessarily have to be at work all day making the decisions and then come home and do the dishes or take care of the baby with the woman. Maybe she should go out and get a job herself and could bring home more money, and he should stay home and take care of the baby, and he would be more happy. I don't know. But it's not so in stone, these models that we're supposed to
Mm.
be because we're a man or because we're a woman. It's what do we want? What works for us? And what can we contribute? And what does one, feel competent about giving? There's many things to take into consideration.
Yeah. And Marcia, those presuppositions going into the relationship is where a lot of the tension lives inside that relationship, because it's like, I'm bringing mine, you're bringing yours. And then it's like the relationship is built on presuppositions versus what is actually real. And that's why I love the exercise that you said. Woman sits down for 30
Yeah.
minutes, write down all your
Yeah.
wants.